This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian.
Mission 250.
Welcome to the Mission 250 Filmcast, where we are watching all 250 movies on the IMDb Top Movies of All Time list. This week, we are doing number 245, which is the 2010 movie, The King's Speech, about King George VI, his speech impediment, and his speech therapist. I am your host, Denny, and my other hosts are...
John?
And TC.
And we're going to start this week with John. First impressions. What did you think of this movie?
So this is the second time I've seen this show. And
the show?
I think show?
Movie.
The show?
Can you call it a show?
I don't think so.
Is it a show? It can't be a show if it's a movie?
Yeah, I think not.
Yeah, I think it's a movie.
Sorry. Sorry. Okay. Second time I've seen this movie. I sort of have the same feelings about it I think I did back then, which is I really like the beginning and Colin Firth is awesome. And then somehow during the middle bits, I got kind of not so into it. And then kind of like the end and the way it wrapped up a little bit. But I don't know. There were some things that we can talk about more, but I just kind of felt like that didn't quite work. But Colin Firth, like that first scene where he's up there to speak and he's in such tortured pain is just amazing. Yeah,
agreed. I think it would make sense for me to go second because I think I know what TC is going to be like. This is the fourth time I've seen this movie. I love this movie. So I really can't even understand, John, how
Fourth
you
time,
can't love this movie. Like, I think I know what TC is going to say. And from beginning to end, this movie has me on like a wire between, laughing, smiling, and crying the entire time.
Wow.
The score is amazing. The acting, the dialogue, the cinematography, the scenes, like everything about it. I would put it up there with one of my favorite ones I think I've ever seen. It's pretty much, in my mind, like a perfect movie.
Wow.
I will watch it many times again. I will show my 4-year-old kid this movie. I think it's amazing. TC, what did you think?
So typical me. I, started, talking shit before I even finished the goddamn thing, right? Well, I made it in like probably 35 minutes. And I'm like, this is fucking boring. Fuck. I'm sitting because I'm drinking. It was like a typical Tuesday. I'm out there boozing, watching the King's Speech. Like, what is this? This isn't fast enough for me. And then I stopped and I fell asleep. So that shows you where I was at. And at first I blamed the movie, but then I just realized, look in the mirror, guy, it's me. So,
so you sobered up. You cleaned up your life.
A day went by. I came back to it and watched the rest of it, and it was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. My friend was giving me shit. I posted something stupid on Facebook about, boring or something like that, and he was like, "Take that back. That movie's amazing." And I was like, I just started watching. I'm like, all right, we'll see where he's going with it. But it was pretty good, man.
So
there's parts where the historical stuff comes in and like you kind of captures your attention more because you remember, hearing about it, and then now you're watching a movie where the guy's in charge of the country and they're about to go to war with Germany.
Where exactly did that split happen, TC? Like, where did you stop the first time and then start up again?
I stopped, I think, pretty early, like back when, like before the brother was about to take over. The dad was about to die.
Yeah. It's like the first
it's
half
like
an
the
hour.
first beginning. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the first half hour, tops. I'm like, I watched a bit of it, half of it. No, you didn't. You watched 30 seconds.
I'm surprised, dude, that you found it boring, TC. The sound in the movie is amazing.
So that's a whole other thing. But yeah, for sure. I thought like you were saying, though, I do agree with you on the music. The score was awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Alexander Desplat. He's done a bunch of really good stuff recently. He did like The Imitation Game, the most recently, I think. Pretty similar to this score, actually. But he also did like Zero Dark 30 and The Tree of Life and The Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Those are really different movies.
Yeah, but they're all like classical, but they're like lots of piano. But yeah, the entire score they used, they had 5 microphones that in the 1930s, they were the Royal something or others microphones. And this movie had permission to rent them from wherever they were, like the historical museum they had them.
Like the Smithsonian.
Yeah,
of
something like
England.
that. They recorded the entire score.
Well, I think
on
they
those
restored
microphones.
them too.
They restored
actually,
them.
Yeah.
And they kind of decorated them too, I guess, which I'm not sure matters at all. But
I mean, that first scene is really amazing. That the way it's all set up and built up to the point where the whole crowd stands up and turns as one is really cool. It's really powerful, and it really just sets the stage of what he has to face. Sort of, this is what he has to overcome, and it's really beautifully done. And then to see him struggle the way he does, and then to slowly watch the audience react to this and cringe or turn away. It's just, and to see his wife's reaction. I mean, it's just, it's painful, but again, also just really well done.
yeah, he stammers on the word "the" like over and over again, and you just hear it like "duh, duh, 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 duh."
Yeah.
And everyone just like is
Yeah,
closing
like-
their eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. Like to hear that echo.
The delay was freaky.
They engineered that. They actually talked they mixed and recorded this movie in the Abbey Road studio. So they had like one of the recording engineers figure out how exactly long the delay would be in that stadium. So it was like
Right. They just did a little math.
So they
on
Yeah.
recreated
space.
it. Nice.
Yeah.
yeah, which is cool.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah. And then they used those delay times and made a bunch of sends, and it was freaky though. I was listening to it on headphones too. It was like tripping me out.
Yeah, and the score kind of like the main riff of the score is that like one piano key, bing, which is kind of like the light blinking before the
Yeah.
Before he goes
thing
live.
goes on. Yeah,
Yeah, so that was an amazing scene, and I loved it, and I think, and then we pretty quickly go to his wife, played by Helena Bonham Carter, who is an awesome actress when she's not being a crazy person.
Yeah, right. Like a freak.
mean-
All I remember her was a freak from Fight Club, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was also like some crazy witch in Harry Potter, Bellatrix, I think.
she was in the
many Tim
Alice in
Burton
Wonderland.
things. She's Tim Burton's wife, I believe.
Not anymore. They got
really?
divorced, but
Oh,
she
did
was
they
for
get
a while.
divorced? Yeah. But she's astonishingly good in this, I think, too, as well. I didn't recognize her at first, again, even though I knew she was in it, damn it. But she's just so like, she just does such a great job.
She still has kind of a ridiculous hairdo and ridiculous outfits and hats, but she like pulls them off.
She's a strange looking woman.
Yeah, she's pretty. I think she really makes.
Oh.
Yeah, I think she's really pretty, but I think her face is. But she makes everything else around her face look strange. To like,
yeah, she's
stand
quirky
out.
for sure. That just seems to come through no matter what, I guess. But again, she does a great job, and so we have a short scene with a traditional speech therapist having
The marbles.
The cold marbles.
having
That was so funny.
having Albert put marbles in his mouth and stuff, and it looks really uncomfortable. And the way they do some of these scenes, which I think sometimes starts to jar me a little bit, is it almost seems like they're really going for a comic effect, like sort of like doing like a close up shot of this, as if they're really almost focusing on the physical humor of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they do that in a number of shots in the film, which it's sort of sometimes it seems a little strange to me. That they also then have these close-up shots of other people when they're trying to make them look menacing or commanding, and it's just a little. I think it's also a similar kind of shot that's sometimes used in slapstick for comedic effect, and maybe that's why I get confused. And then Elizabeth, I think, or is it Catherine? What's her name? His wife, Helena.
Yeah, Helena.
Who goes and then finds this other speech therapist that she hears is good, and he's sort of off the beaten path, and she goes and visits him.
In his like amazing office.
Right.
He's
Right.
poor, but he has the coolest office I've ever seen.
Yeah. He has a beautiful office. He's got this whole mural in the background. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then the very long scene where he comes back with King George VI and
Well,
the
right
first-
now he's just Albert. He's not king yet,
right. He's the Duke of
Prince
York.
or Duke of York.
Duke of York. And he goes there, and that scene between them, it's like 15 minutes long. There's like 3 or 4 of those scenes throughout the movie. and those scenes are the best. I could watch those like over and over again.
See, it's interesting. I don't know if I think between them, I don't know if I like. I think there's supposed to be this real warmth that develops between them, and I don't think like Geoffrey Rush's character shows it so much. He seems very much like he's playing like a therapist role because he's got his set way of doing things, and he's sort of like taking the situation where he wants to take it and making Albert do what he wants him to do.
But that's part of the therapy, though.
Yeah, it is. I know, and I think that but also I think one of the themes was, and it really comes through and maybe that's just their relationship, but in Albert's character and the way Colin does it, it's so he is just so amazing in this movie. I completely like not only showing the struggle, right. But then the amount of like frustration and like the warmth that he shows is really amazing.
Yeah,
I mean it's just he completely deserves the best actor and any other kind of accolades that he got for this. But I don't think Rush meets that. I don't know. I didn't feel like when they would like focus on Rush's reactions and his interactions, I didn't feel it paled. It didn't match. And so to me, that was kind of an odd and Rush is an awesome actor.
I thought he was great. I thought he was like some kind of a rock or something in this movie.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
You didn't like Rush's performance overall? You didn't like his character or something?
I guess not. I mean,
TC, what did you think? Yeah.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Jeffrey Rush, the therapist.
Speech therapist.
Yeah, I got to call them by their names in the movie.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, what was his name?
Lionel.
Lionel. Oh, Lionel. Yeah.
Sorry, let's do the names. They have the so it's Birdie and Lionel.
Like who?
Yeah, Birdie and Lionel.
So what do I think about Lionel?
Yeah. What do you think?
He was good. I mean, as far as like, he was a therapist. He had that doctor feel, even though he wasn't one.
Did you buy that he was actually like making friends with
No,
Birdie?
Not really. I felt like he was being more of like a doctor.
Oh wow.
They only kept once they started bringing it up, then I started thinking about it. But until then, not really. No, I just felt like they were doing like. I mean,
there's this great aspect of Lionel's life where he's like a failed actor. He like, and they sort of hint at this, that he really wants to be famous and be somebody of importance, but he's not.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's sort of like, he's sort of pushing Albert to be great or wanting to be great sort of as part of, and I don't.
To live vicariously through
I imagine if I watched this more too, but they would like, when they show like the audiences applauding or whatever, that he's kind of basking in that a little because he's, this is sort of an indirect way for him
that
to
last
get that.
shot, you mean?
Yeah. But it's odd. He's hard. His emotions aren't very readable. Lionel's aren't anyway. Or at least when I was watching him, I'm sort of like, I don't know.
I don't know. So the way I felt about his character is he's a failed everything, right? Like he's a failed actor. He's kind of a non-therapist.
He's a good therapist.
He is, but he's not.
Yeah, but he's no credentials.
Right. So he and his like kids, he's poor. His his kids kind of like him, but he's kind of a silly dude. I feel like throughout his entire life, no one's taken him seriously, and I'm just making this up in my head. But so that kind of comes through where he doesn't. I don't know. He's
what
more
doesn't come through then? Right.
It
doesn't come. There's not like a gratefulness to him then for that. Like, and maybe that's the way he decided to do this character. But you don't see a warmth or a response, a gratefulness to how hard Birdie is working with him, despite their differences in class. So, and when he even stands up for him and so forth, like he later on in the movie where the head of the Church of England, I forget what his name is. Well, the head, I guess, is the king, but the clergyman who's sort of there represents the church.
The white haired dude.
White-haired dude.
White-haired
Cosmo Lang, is that him?
Yeah, he gets told off.
No. Yeah, that's him. The Archbishop, right?
What's his name?
Yeah, Archbishop.
I just clicked off. Archbishop Cosmo Lang.
Cosmo Lang. That's a good name.
Yeah, he was. I didn't like that guy.
No, he's a dick.
I was very turned off by that guy.
Yeah. I think he was meant to be, very, very clearly be portrayed as kind of a just
jerk.
Self-serving jerk.
Yeah, like they first come off with that when he's talking to the brother,
Right.
And he's like, I always had your best interests at heart.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
So,
yeah, sure you did, guy.
Yeah, and at the end when he's like,
creepy priest.
we are going to do it this way, and he's like, no, we're not, and he's like,
No, we're
"Yes,
not.
yes, we
that
are."
is. Those are not my wishes.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
you're like, fuck
Take
off,
father.
dude.
Hey, father, screw.
So yeah, like talking like the differences between their lives was pretty. The first part where you got to see that was when like the house situations back to back, where they showed like Lionel's and Birdie's like dinner scenes, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
And they kind of seemed like the same kind of person, just put in different situations. They both had like good ways with their kids.
Right. Their family loved them.
Yeah.
They were good gentlemen.
They're good people.
That's true.
Right.
They were very much, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to create this idea that maybe they were, there's a theme there. This idea being it's just circumstance that they were born where they were,
Well, and he has that thing. He says that line where he's like, I often think about how the guy that's poor knows nothing. I know nothing about him, and then he knows nothing about me.
Yeah.
Right? They're drinking whiskey or something like that, and he's like lamenting over, how he's just kind of like in this situation where he's royalty and he doesn't know anybody else about them at all.
Well, Birdie doesn't have like any friend. Well, so that line kind of pissed me off. Speaking of that, so he says he has no friends, but I wish I knew Bonham Carter's his wife's name in the movie. But she's his friend. Like she seems like she's his really good friend.
Yeah, but that time period, that's a little bit different. Like you had your wife and then you had your friends.
Yeah, but their relationship was great. I thought whenever they like flirted with each other or whatever, it was
Right.
I had a smile on my face.
Again, I thought it was very well done. Yeah, I think she matches him really well.
Yeah, she like gave him like little pats and like was accepting when he got pissed off and.
That's
So
true. That's true.
she's
yeah.
Elizabeth, if you want to go by her name.
Queen
though.
Elizabeth. Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. It's weird looking up pictures of these people in real life because they're not as attractive as they are in the movies.
No.
Well, that's
nobody
what movies
is,
Nobody is. Yeah.
except for maybe what the hell's his name? The guy who takes over the short fat guy towards the end of the movie that takes over the prime minister.
Winston Churchill.
That's Churchill. I hate that guy's face.
So he's also was in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But he plays Churchill really comically almost. I don't really like it.
It was like a
it's like a
comic strip,
farce.
John. You're right. That is a really good way of putting it.
Oh wow!
That stupid face he makes.
Yeah,
God
I mean,
damn it, I hate that
I
face.
went and looked at some videos of Churchill afterwards just to see is this realistic and does this guy look that ridiculous and talk in that ridiculous way? He's a little. There's a hint of this in Churchill if you look,
But
at him
not
in real
that
life.
face he makes.
No.
But that's his
house
face,
and that
though.
whatever
That guy has
that
a
is.
weird
No, he doesn't.
face.
He puts that on so bad.
No,
I've seen him do it.
he's putting it on. I mean, he's an oddly faced guy as it is.
Well
but
done,
he's-
sir.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, again, it just felt like that was. What was his name? He was the rat, the guy that turned into the rat.
Dude, there was 3 people in this movie that were in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
3 people.
Similar executives or something.
The king that died towards the time where TC went to sleep was in Harry Potter.
Yeah, right.
TC
KO'd.
Sleepy Time King. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
So Helena Bonham Carter was the
Queen Elizabeth.
pillar. She was correct. She was the pillar of when they had to shoot this movie because they were shooting the Deathly Hallows Part 1 while they were filming this movie.
And 2.
Wow. How about that?
Oh, they shoot them at the same time?
2 movies.
I thought so. It's just one big movie.
That's
and then
probably
they cut it
right.
out.
Yeah, I just looked at the dates of when those movies came out. So yeah, probably both. But they had to shoot around her schedule because she was the most in-demand person at the time.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And this movie had a tiny budget. So here's a game. What would you guess the budget of this movie was? And to consider all of the period piece elements and all of the. So I'll give you this fact first before you have to guess at this. They only had to make 2 sets in this entire movie, and the 2 sets were Lionel's dining room in the beginning with his family's dinner in the very towards the beginning, and the speech booth they had with Birdie and Lionel at the very end for the actual King's speech. Those are the 2 sets they built. Everything else was on set,
Location.
other places. Right.
Yeah, location. Yeah.
So, having those in mind, what would you guess the budget of this movie was?
John,
30 million.
I'm gonna go lower than that.
I
He
have no
said
idea.
tiny.
Yeah, I kind
said tiny, I know,
of
he sort of
ruined
gave
it.
it away.
Yeah.
He
I
said
decided to
tiny, so
ignore
it's gotta
that
be
slip.
like 7 or 8 million.
It's 15 million.
Ooh.
Oh,
half-
exactly. half
Split
of
the
what I
difference. Yeah. The movie made over $400 million worldwide.
Oh, welcome to the cha-ching.
I think the
they're
fact that it,
rich.
and like I think it made like $300,000 the first weekend it opened, but it
Hey,
probably
Beverly
opened
Hills
limited.
is looking pretty nice.
There's like really interesting stories about how this film eventually came to be. I mean, it's like first the screenwriter, he wanted to make this movie a long time, and he'd been wanting to write about King Albert's, but he stopped at the askance of his mother because it was too painful for her, and he waited until she died then because she said
So
he could
not his
continue with
mother,
work. The Albert's, Bertie's mother.
sorry, right,
queen.
yeah. But
Yeah.
also the screenwriter had a stutter growing up.
Oh, he had a stutter growing up. That's why, and he looked up to Albert. He's
Yeah.
growing up during wartime England, and he thought he looked up to Albert as a role model and King George, because he had a stutter and he overcame it. So he'd always wanted to do this movie. He had to wait until his Albert's mom died, and then they had to try to get a big name associated with it. So they knew somebody who lived nearby Geoffrey Rush in Australia, and they had them drop the script off in his mailbox, which is apparently a terrible breach of protocol.
Is
or
it
etiquette.
Geoffrey Rush?
Yeah, Geoffrey Rush.
Isn't it Jeffrey?
And if you're an American,
Did people say Geoffrey?
I have no idea. I didn't even know his name.
He's
about that?
Captain Barbossa from the Black Pearl, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, he's not Jeffrey. It's not spelled Jeffrey. It's G.
Yeah, it is.
No, that's how you spell Jeffrey. There's many spellings of Jeffrey.
Geoffrey.
You spell
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey that way?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Why? Why do that when you could just spell it
It's not
Jeffrey?
Geoffrey.
I don't know.
Yes.
Hey, Google.
Google.
Yeah.
All right, let's learn how to say
I'm doing
names.
it
Sorry,
right now.
that was completely derailed, John. But yeah, about the screenwriter, he was also the oldest person to ever win Best Original Screenplay Oscar for this movie. He was in his 70s.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
So hell yeah,
it's
to that
a
guy.
pretty amazing thing.
That's
Yeah,
Jeffrey
I mean,
Rush.
again, an amazing life story for him to finally accomplish this movie. That's kind of like something he's wanted to do, ever since he was very young. So that's a pretty awesome story right there.
Yeah.
So it's the big runaway smash hit, gets lots of awards, makes lots of money.
Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Writing, and Best, what was the other one? Director. The big ones. So where are we in terms of plot? Should we hop back to the plot?
I don't know. We're like we're just talking about their relationship more or less than anything, and then that just sort of like comes and goes. Like they kind of like work together for a while. There's some improvement, but then they have kind of a spat or whatever.
Right, because they finds out that he's not credentialed, and then
Well, that doesn't happen. Yeah, that's like later on.
friends,
Yeah, there's like
and,
different hitches that happen in their relationship, and I guess like they do a lot. Like there's a lot of historical inaccuracies in this, but just mostly to serve the plot. Nothing really bad or anything. But I guess like in King Albert's like showed like dramatic improvement within months in reality,
With
as
a-
opposed to
with a
like a
therapy?
period of years. Yeah.
Oh.
So they actually, it's just sort of an odd thing. Usually things like you have miraculous things working in the movies faster than maybe in real life. So, so that was kind of interesting. Churchill would never have been at any of these functions.
of course not.
They
Because they're
never-
a joke, right? The royalty
Well,
stuff.
I don't even know. I don't know about that. I just know it just from what I read on the wiki page, basically.
They
not
probably
that,
didn't.
which
They
is
probably
for
wouldn't have
whatever
invited him.
good that is. Well, you're right. It's probably not.
Royal
It's more.
functions.
It's more for show as opposed to like actual politics or whatever. So,
the
so he
voice of
probably
the
wouldn't have had
people,
those
though.
interactions. Yeah.
It's very important. I listened to. I don't know if we want to jump to this, but I listened to the very last, the actual King's speech.
Oh yeah. Yeah. At the end.
Have you listened to the actual speech?
No.
No.
How is it in
It-
terms of the comparison?
It is Colin Firth saying it into an old microphone.
Wow,
It's
So
amazing.
he really practiced it. Then.
It's unbelievable. It seems like it was so much the exact same in terms of like he says the words in the same note and the same spacing. He must have just memorized the entire thing. And
It's pretty awesome.
it's almost unimpressive at like how exactly the same it is. But then you think of how the rest of his character he does the rest of the movie, like just melds into that one part. Even
Right.
like,
when he's talking, that's a really good point. Like when he's just talking and doing these other things, and when he goes into the speech, it's him. You know, you don't feel this like he's turning on this like parroting kind of thing.
Right. Even though it is different than anything he's done the rest of the movie because he's not really stuttering, even though he kind of is.
One thing I if right at the beginning you could just put headphones on with music and he could speak perfectly, they should just do that at every speech he gives.
I was wondering that myself.
That's a
like,
good-
why
that's a good
didn't they
idea.
redo that? Why, if it worked perfectly, the guy was with him for 5 minutes and it worked. Why not do that again?
Just
every
do that.
time.
You can keep working on the speech therapy, but
But God, just give him a friggin' thing of headphones and you're good. He's gonna be fine.
You guys,
Done, movie over.
you guys are better
right
than
there.
Lionel, what's his name?
Yeah,
That's
Well,
right.
he wasn't a doctor either, so it turns out anybody can do it.
So I would say for because he had to do it in public a lot, right? So you can't wear headphones in public because then you look silly because you have a giant top hat on or whatever.
Well, I guess there's
Good
that,
point.
but for the radio addresses, for sure,
But
he's
that's
in
the
a little
thing.
bit.
So for those, yes, that makes 100% sense. But you kind of want him, like those ones are the most important ones, the radio ones. So you want him to get better during those so he can do the public ones too. So people don't think that he is faking it, right? Like if he was good in private,
Well,
bad in
how
public.
funny was that little line at the end? He's like, "Well, I had to put some of them in there, so they would know it was me."
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, "Ha ha! Old person joke, so bad. I love it."
That was from his actual journals. That was from the king's actual journals. That particular
like
line,
put
they
something in there.
they discovered some journals, like I think 7 weeks before they started filming or something like that, and they put both all the characters read, or the actors read those journals, and that one particular line is directly from Albert's journal.
That's awesome.
That's
Love a good sense of humor.
Yeah, he's witty as hell. He just gotta stutter.
Oh, again, as a character, he's
Stammer.
amazing, and that's that's when I do see like Joffrey's or Russia or Lionel sort of
Joffrey.
like expressing some he's always Joffrey to me.
Joff.
Jeffrey.
Joff.
Anyway,
Have you ever called anybody Joffrey to their face?
that's when we see. I'm trying not to be derailed here. That's when I think I actually do see Lionel's expressing some real emotion about Albert, just talking about how strong he thinks he is and how what a good king he would make. And that's actually, I think, some pretty cool emotional scenes right there too. Because again, Colin, the actor of Colin playing Albert, just does such an amazing job of being able to like show like strength, even though he's terribly weak and ineffectual in so many ways.
Sometimes he gets crippled. Sometimes, like his brother, what the hell's his name? The Guy Pearce character. I don't remember their names.
Guy from Memento. Right?
The guy from Memento. When he teases him with the Bertie.
Oh, I
things,
know, that was rough. Dude.
It was,
I got,
dude.
like,
he was crippled with humility.
I got really annoyed by that. I was like, I would never do that to my brother.
Dude,
That's
I
so
honestly
fucked
thought
up.
during that part, I was like, I almost convinced myself that Guy Pearce was a bad actor because I hated his character so much.
Oh, wow.
I was like,
That's
fuck,
funny.
Fuck that guy.
Dude,
Fuck
right?
That guy.
was rough. That was brutal. That was like a really low blow. That's what that
But I
was.
think the whole point of that was to just really show how like his stutter, like the source of it is in terms of is how he was brought up and in the situation
like,
he grew up
the
in.
people who are near him the most are the ones
And how
who
they
make
treated
fun
him.
of
Yeah.
him the most.
Right.
Right.
And so when it really came down to like a crisis or whatever, and when one of them got angry with the other, they knew this is how he knew how to hurt his brother the most.
Right.
And how to disable him.
It's brutal.
He says at
Yeah.
one point, I think he says, we're not a family, we're a firm. He says to his father.
They're just a business.
Yeah. Which doesn't really hurt his father when he says it, which
No,
doesn't really make
Father's
sense.
like, you're damn right we're a firm.
yeah, but that's sad.
We're badass.
Their whole family
You're right.
situation. It really doesn't make the royal family look good.
No, but it's the tale as old as time, right? It's like the friggin' the
Stop.
family
Song
that's
is
got,
old as right.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tale as old as time.
No,
It's, you know,
there is no such
it's
thing
a-
as a tale as old as time. It's first you have to have time and then you have the tale. See?
It's a family that's got power and riches, and they're never right. They're never close. The people that have nothing are the ones that are close.
You think?
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know. The people have nothing are also pretty miserable too.
I think
Yeah,
everyone's far.
I don't know.
Everyone
I think
is
a lot
far.
of the families that are like good families are, they struggle together. That's why
maybe
they're
I
close.
don't know, man.
No?
If you're,
No.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends.
If you're pretty stressed about money and stuff like that, you're not always very nice to each other then either.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So what was your
It's just things are tough all over.
yeah.
What's that now?
What would you guys consider your favorite sequence of the movie?
When they're in the man-made audio booth.
Yeah, the King's Speech part.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I was
Yeah.
like, that's home-brewed audio production right there. I love it.
That really happened, by the way.
Yeah.
Um,
There's sheets all over the place and
So John,
Yeah,
your hidden journal piece of trivia there,
Uh-huh.
they also found that they built a secret for that individual speech and possibly more. They don't know because they didn't mention it in the journals that they built a secret recording booth so just them two could be in it, and he decorated it to make Albert feel more comfortable. And there was a picture. So at the very end, he walks out, sits down, takes a picture in front of his father's recording area, like
right,
in
because
the
that's
room.
like going to be the press image. As
That
if this
was
is where he gave
the
his
actual
speech.
press image. Like
Right.
it's now considered propaganda because they know that that's not how it really happened.
Right.
So that's pretty nuts.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think about it, I mean, he wasn't. Again, his character is really awesome in some ways, but he didn't. It's not like he wrote those speeches. He didn't. These weren't even his thoughts. It was all prepared for him.
But he definitely
true.
felt those words.
Oh yeah. I was just saying, like it's. He is a propaganda piece in a way. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
it's and so it's.
I mean, isn't that the era where propaganda came from? Like Hitler, right? Like they're the
Oh, yeah.
propaganda masters. Like, of course it's propaganda.
Dude, there's
Well, it
something
was
about
back then.
showing real footage of Hitler in like
Dude,
a
it
good
just
movie.
it really
It's
freaked me out,
It
man.
adds weight and it's scary as fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was sitting here like, oh man, I forget how crazy the Nazis were.
Yeah.
When all their hands go up like that and they got that wide shot
There's
of
so many people
thousands of
that were
them.
on
Oh.
board,
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck that.
And it was pretty, actually, that was a pretty good scene, I thought, when they were watching the footage after the reel of accepting the kingship.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Right,
So
and
that
they're,
that
like, sitting
footage
there
is
and, like,
real.
Yeah, and then they cut to the real Nazi footage, and he's like, it
Yeah.
looks like a man that can speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, that's deep. He's
Yeah.
like respecting him and loathing him all at the same time.
He's convincing a whole shit ton of people to do some crazy stuff.
yeah. So he must be good at talking.
John, what would you say your favorite like sequence was?
I still think the opening
the
is
first
the best.
speech.
This is the first speech and the trail leading up to that. I think that's still like the most.
It's an
like-
amazing opening to a movie.
It is, and I think that that's maybe why like I don't think the rest of the movie holds up to it as much, or maybe it just sort of lulls a little for me because that opening was really powerful.
Yeah.
And I really like that sort of like just that the way it got set up, and
It's
to
almost like
make
a
some-
short film. Like 'cause
Yeah.
it's different style than the rest of the movie almost.
But to pull something off where it's really uncomfortable, but it's still entertaining and very watchable. It's intensely uncomfortable to watch it, but it's so well done that I don't mind watching it.
Yeah.
As opposed to it's got to be a really hard line to walk in that situation. Like you're going to make something that's cringe-inducing. So and yet to do it so beautifully that it doesn't you still want to watch it. That's just pretty amazing because again it really once he gets up there and starts speaking, like I said before, that's just like it's just amazingly uncomfortable.
Yeah. I would say mine is the scene where right after his father dies, he goes like him and Bertie and Lionel kind of had a falling out, and then Bertie's father dies, and then he kind of like with his shoulders shrugged, like goes back and apologizes and stuff.
Mhm.
And then he has like the first intimate speech, kind of like going actually into his own history.
When he's like building the model plane.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so that's like one of the best parts I think is when he's like, dude, if you don't sing about your problems, you can't put glue on my son's plane. And he's
Right.
like, all right, fine. I will sing because I really, really want to play with these models. because my parents wouldn't let me do this. He's like a little kid. It was amazing.
He is. And
Well, they
it's-
keep going through that notion, right? So
Yeah.
Even in the end, like that, he can't be afraid of what he was afraid of when he was 5 years old.
Yeah, and he's like a
They talk about
5-year-old
that,
trapped, and he just kept
So
growing
they're trying
old.
to bring that up subtly.
Yeah.
That like he's still like his mental and emotional state.
Well, that
is
wasn't
how he
subtle.
deals with problems
That entire
are like-
scene was his
Yeah.
entire
No, it
childhood.
wasn't, and that was really like when Lionel really is acting like a therapist there, and he's really like asking very direct, probing questions. Like he's really and again, it's and maybe that's kind of the point that this wasn't really a friendship role, although they call it a friendship, but this really was more like a therapist and a patient kind of role relationship. Where, the way he was talking to him and asking these questions is not necessarily what you would do as a friend, but what you would do as a therapist to a patient. And tell me about your father. And then how did you feel about that? And how did that make you feel?
So do you think he was? So I can kind of understand what you're saying, but I also feel like, and I can't get any specific reasons why, that they did become friends at the end. Do you think it was just a tactic because he knew that Birdie needed a friend to like get past the thing, so he faked the whole thing?
No, I think that they
I-
just became close over
Yeah,
being with each
but
other for
John's
so
saying-
long every day.
Not for Lionel's character. They didn't become
No,
close.
but I know. But I was sorry. I was taking it out of the movie now, so I was just extrapolating to like what I thought really probably happened.
Oh,
No,
right.
so
right.
what did
No,
happen
that's
is they were real friends, and
right till they died or whatever.
No, so the one thing that they didn't mention in whatever you call them, the non-title cards, the ones at the end, the little history afterwards, the director said that Lionel died 1 year after Birdie died.
Oh, really?
Died 1 year after.
Birdie died really young too. He died in like 50.
He was in his 50s.
Lung
yeah.
cancer. Yeah, he smoked
Complications,
himself
lung
to death.
cancer. And Lionel died 1 year later, and the grandson of Lionel was at the premiere of this movie, and he told the director that it was kind of like a weird marriage where they were best friends, and he just gave up as soon as Birdie died.
Oh,
Wow.
So they were friends. Like they were really,
They were
really good
no, they
friends.
did. They definitely. I think they spent a lot of
well,
time.
and
together.
maybe I have like a my own background that colors some of this or seeing
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
like,
for
like
sure
I,
you do. You're like, this is a therapist situation.
Well,
with
I mean,
patients.
like having
I'm Dr. John.
having done that before, you aren't buddies with the people that you work with like that.
But he's
You know,
off the walls, man. He's a fucking freewheeler. He's a hippie.
He's also not a doctor.
Yeah, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
also like a very difficult
too.
thing to do.
Yeah, he was just some
Um,
dude. So maybe he could have been a doctor.
What's a difficult thing to do?
So it's a very weird thing to
Treat people.
If
Yes.
you're treating
Being a-
somebody, but then you go and be friends with them too. Those are like different roles, and they're
Patch
it's
Adams.
very-
John, have you ever seen Patch Adams? He's a friend
I
to
guess-
everybody.
I guess I'm
I
just-
think, John, you're absolutely right. Like, it's not a normal thing, but I mean, there's
Yeah.
always exceptions, and this happens.
Oh, sure,
to be one of
I
them,
know,
that's all.
but and really, it was very clear. Like, and Lionel was totally being the therapist in these situations, and I even feel like to the extent then, he was being a therapist in terms of the way he was trying to build up Birdie's confidence.
Right.
And he may have felt this stuff, but the way he was expressing it was not the way a friend would express this stuff. It was the way somebody who's really trying to push somebody in a direction would express it.
But isn't that like a good friend
And,
that knows?
and again, that might be the way that's what they were going for there. That
Right.
like this is, even though a friendship is there and they both kind of need each other in a way, and they both like get something out of this in a way. That the relationship that we see is the one of a therapist and a patient throughout the movie.
And and to back that up, that scene where he's giving the speech and Lionel's in his own house with the kids, he looked more proud than he did happy for a friend.
But also,
Right.
he's so
Right.
John. You said
Like-
earlier that you were thinking that Lionel was going for his own type of fame, but he kept the fact that he was doing speech therapy with the king / prince or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
royalty.
I didn't
secret,
say I didn't say that's what they were going for. I just said that was just another aspect that I that was just sort of there. It actually wasn't played up too much.
But what is his motivation? Is it friend or? I mean, he's definitely therapist at least half, but I think he might be also equally half friend. to this guy because
Denny is really gunning for this guy to be like a
this
buddy.
movie, all right?
Yeah, that's okay. Hey,
He's
I don't
buddy.
even. I actually think that there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, even let's say that maybe they were going to try to portray this as, even though there was a friendship there, that they were also really trying to that maybe say Joffrey in approaching this role wanted to approach this in terms of seeing himself as a therapist and acting as a therapist throughout most of the movie.
Is it just me trying? Like his role got me so hard that I want him to like have a friend so bad that I'm just making stuff up.
So
about
that
characters.
might be no, that might be a point. I mean, because
It could be.
Yeah,
I mean,
because I do.
right. But I didn't. It's weird. I just didn't see like a real warmth back from Lionel towards Birdie when they were exchanging this.
I agree. I don't think they really
Yeah,
played it.
now that you mention
up
it, like
that right.
when Birdie left the first time, and he gave him the vinyl record of his voice, but he didn't try to stop him, and he didn't
No,
go
he
and
let him
find him
go.
afterwards. Like if Birdie didn't listen to that record, nothing would have happened.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's
And
not
what
like
kind of friend is that?
yeah, that's true. And the same thing happened when Lionel was like calling him. He was calling his what did he say? He was talking about like taking over his brother's position, and then Birdie was telling him that's treason talk, and then he gets pissed off and walks off. He doesn't go looking for him either. It's always like Birdie going back to him. Shit, I didn't realize this before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the same time, it's all
I
about
think
Birdie too.
There's one where Lionel does kind of go and he tries to apologize, but he gets rebuffed.
Is
by
that what
the
that was though?
doorman.
They never say why he's there. I thought they like scheduled an appointment or something.
No, because his wife talked to him and said, "I think that you're trying to. I think you want him to be something that you wish you could be, something to that effect."
Whose wife?
Birdie,
Lionel's wife.
Lionel's wife.
Oh.
Lionel's wife pushes him and says, "You're pushing him too far because you're thinking about what you want." And I think that gets to him a little, and that's why he goes. And
Oh man,
and
dude! All the times I've watched this movie, I've always kind of zoned out at that scene because when he's sitting in that waiting room and gets kicked out, I'm always kind of like, "What's happening right now?"
oh,
I've never been paying attention during that part.
Jeez, man, what have you been doing all these 4 times?
That might have been
I know,
like,
huh?
I don't know what's going on then. That's funny. The scene before that must have been like boring to me or something.
Pretty sure that.
Oh,
That's,
look who's
oh
saying
yeah.
it's
Well, you know,
boring
that's because that's
now. Oh,
the
you-
women talking. You know,
I think
Oh
I.
yeah, no, he got interrupted. That's what happened. He got
John
interrupted.
trying to be TC.
Yeah.
Oh,
There he is. He's
Yeah.
back.
nope.
No,
nope.
but
Squelch him. Squelch him.
I am pretty sure that it was his. It was. I mean, that's the scene right before he goes there. His wife's like, "Hey, you screwed up here. You pushed too far, and it wasn't his fault."
Oh,
That was like her
shit.
one big moment.
So that's funny, man. A lot of my notes, I don't know. The actor that plays Lionel's wife, I would say is like my 4th favorite character in the movie. Mostly because of the one scene when she figures out that Lionel is
Yeah,
trading.
those are fun moments. That like it's done really well on all the actors' presence. The way they all handled it, it's pretty entertaining to watch.
Yeah. Especially if you like watch Helena Bonham Carter's hand movements during a lot of the scenes.
Queen Elizabeth.
Fucking amazing. Yeah, Queen Elizabeth, sorry. I feel like most people would know them by their names.
Nope, I have no idea.
You have no
Nope.
idea.
Not a clue.
Sorry. Queen Elizabeth. Her hand movements, her quirky, like especially during that one part where she rejects the offer for them going to dinner. Where she's like, oh, such a nice request. 'Tis a pity. We have
Well-
prior engagements. I'm so sorry.
None of them probably really wants that. I mean, I think it would be awkward for everybody involved. I think she was just trying to be polite.
Well, yeah,
I don't think
100%.
Lionel's wife would really be happy with
No,
them
yeah,
staying
she was
for
just
dinner.
she was
Right.
being polite, and so was Queen Elizabeth.
Right.
And they were both very good about it, and it was fucking hilarious, that entire scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was.
I don't know. That scene was really funny. I don't know. The entire movie was. I was laughing throughout.
I really liked
thing.
the kids. I really liked how they made the kids like really smart. Like we had a splendid time, Papa.
They were like the
Or
Peter
whatever,
Pan
like-
kids.
Yeah, they're like so smart, and they're like 7 years old. And
think
they're
it's just
saying
British
words that I
kids.
would never say.
It's just British people.
Yeah, that's true.
there's-
It's the Queen's English.
Well, they
Yeah.
certainly like the one kid was. They called him Doc, and he was. I guess he's always in the books and whatnot. So there's clearly one of those kids was.
Oh,
very
that's right. There's that.
studious.
Yeah, because he was reading in that scene.
Yeah, he was able to quote
Yeah.
Shakespeare back. and
Right.
all that.
Oh, good for him.
One of the scenes we haven't talked about yet is the reason this movie is rated R.
Uh-huh.
You know, I mean, you guys know about this?
I
know?
don't.
That's because of the swearing,
just
isn't it?
The
spit it.
swearing.
Yeah, which is really funny.
Well, yeah,
Like,
because
I
that
think-
scene where he's just like swearing along to get through the
Yeah.
lines
Yeah, he's
or
like,
whatever.
Yeah.
Shit. That was awesome.
Shit.
Oh yeah, but
Shit,
at the
shit,
end,
shit.
the ratings were like, all right, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's
yeah, that's
it.
like 20 in like 5 seconds. You guys are done. That's
Yeah,
R.
but there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. I would honestly show this movie to a stranger,
they
4-year-old,
like,
to be like, "This is good for you. This movie
yeah,
is
they
good."
petitioned the British ratings board, whatever it is. They've got it knocked down because of the functionality of the swearing.
Yeah.
That it was like swearing for a good
and
cause.
it was with intention. It wasn't just because blatantly you're, being vulgar.
right. You're not calling anybody anything. You're not like
That's true,
verbally
too,
abusing
right.
anybody, right? So,
That's cool. I didn't think about it like that.
but yeah, totally.
And if the word
makes
was
sense,
used
but-
that way, then it would be a better word, I think.
yeah,
If it
well,
just
hey,
like
it-
took the vulgarity out of the word, then
well,
you got to
but
make some
it's-
new
it's-
words, and that's always fun.
Maybe, but it's the vulgarity of the word that sort of somehow gives it its magic.
I like how the word tits was around in the 1920s. And
was it?
tits? That was the last thing he said when he was going.
Yeah,
off
I
in
know,
his-
but like,
He said it sort of like embarrassed
Yeah.
too. It was really, really well done. He's like, yeah.
they had to, dude. It has to be.
was that in the
accurate, right?
journal, Denny? Was it in the
It-
journal?
It was in the journal, all right?
Was it in the
was
journal,
In the fucking
Denny?
journal, all right?
It
I think it was in the journal.
wasn't in the journal.
There was a picture in the journal.
Guys, like, how about them tits? Huh? No, definitely not.
They were just like, all right, let's fact check this movie
Apparently,
all the way
the
through.
king loved tits. What can you do?
Bro.
It's in the script. Yep. He's at Plan B at 2 a.m. too. I heard. Looking at them tits. Anyways.
Well,
moving on.
tit has Scandinavian origin from the 16th century, so it's been around.
Yeah, so they like appealed the ratings board and stuff, and the director pointed out that he was extra pissed off. They appealed it to get a PG-13, and Saw 4, I think it's called Saw the Final Chapter in 3D was R-rated in the theaters at the opening weekend or something, like very close to opening weekend was at the same time as this movie, and they're both rated the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's,
crazy.
It's violence.
that.
It's funny what we do with violence versus nudity or language. It's just
Yeah,
silly.
it's kind of gross, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because this movie could be shown to you sit the 4-year-old down, talk to him for 2 minutes, and you
Yeah.
could show them this movie, and they might not like it because it could be slow.
Yeah, as one who loves to swear,
And
Not that
you
violent,
might have to explain something to his teacher the next day when he stands up in class and is nervous about talking and says shit.
Miss Smith, what's fuck face, fuck, shit, supposed to mean? I watched it in a movie last night.
It's all
My
right.
uncle Denny, he showed me.
He said it'd be good for me. He said
yeah,
it was,
ring, ring,
it was like his favorite movie ever, and then
Yeah.
he's watched it 4 times.
Hey, just want to give you a heads up. Your brother told your kid a lot of bad things. All right,
Context
you have
is
a good
lost
day.
in this society.
Because John's right. That's what would happen. The kid
Oh,
would show
God.
up. Yeah.
that's probably
And like it
true.
wouldn't matter that the king's speech was this whole like historical, like you're trying to do all these good things. Like that's what adults do. Kids don't
Yeah.
get that.
Before
All
I could
they hear is,
explain
"Shit,
myself,
fuck,
I'd be in
shit."
irons in some
Yeah.
fucking dungeon.
Uncle Denny's a jerk. You don't invite him
Yeah.
anymore.
My whole family turns against me. Like, I was the king's
But
you
it's
get,
the
you
king's
get labeled.
speech.
You
It's
get
the
labeled
king's
as a registered sex offender.
I just wanted to show him a movie.
Yeah,
It's on the top 250.
This
I
movie makes
swear.
another $400 million.
Yeah. Every time you move, you'll have to go to the neighborhood and tell everybody what you did.
So I was
showed a
showing this
4-year-old
kid the King's speech. Yeah.
It's a really good movie. You should
Just
watch
hear
it.
me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Do you know anything about the time? Let me tell you. It's funny.
Oh, what a scenario. God damn it, I'm scared now.
You should be.
I'm never going to
Yeah,
hang out
good.
with my nephews or nieces.
You need a
Yeah.
little fear, man.
A little
Yeah, you
fear?
Little fear.
Yeah.
Little fear is good.
Says the new dad. Just a little fear.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
One of the things I noticed about like the style of this movie,
Oh, what?
like the intimate story, huge settings. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What about him?
That's about it.
That's
How
it?
like it's like a
That's
friend's
as far as you got.
it's a friend's story. It's like
Right. But
Whenever
then
I
it's
think-
on this
So
global
it's a
scale.
warm-hearted story, and you have these little, heartstrings
so what I was gonna say-
of yours that are
what I was
getting
gonna
pulled.
say is that this movie, whenever I think about it in my head, I think of it as like a one-on-one between Bertie and Lionel.
Right.
But then
So
you
if you were a
watch
character in the movie, who would you be?
the castle.
What? That's so existential.
I'm just amazed you had an answer, and now I'm then confused that your
I'm the
answer is what it was.
I'm Danny. I'm a castle.
I'm the fucking Wimbledon Stadium.
Yeah, I'm a castle. I want to be a castle. No, Denny, that's not what I am.
I'm one of those old cars.
The castle. That's good. That's good. You got me laughing.
Yeah. So you want to ask me any questions? Because I'm a castle now.
Yeah, these walls, if they could talk, well, now they do.
I really like
Please
that
don't
scene
put any
where he
bathrooms
sits
in
in
me.
the
I would
chair.
appreciate that.
Where Lionel sits in the chair and he's just like, it's just a chair.
Oh,
People
yeah.
carve
Oh, yeah.
their names
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
like talking so much trash.
Oh, about that scene, they only had that space for a couple of days. It's supposed to be shot in Westminster, but it was actually shot in Ely Cathedral because Westminster is like tourist trap shit.
Oh,
apparently.
okay.
Oh.
So they only had like I don't know how long they had, not very much because it was a low budget movie and all that shit. That scene where he was sitting in the chair was shot at the end of a day when they were like getting kicked out of the place,
Oh, wow.
which is crazy.
So he was being feisty.
Yeah, being very feisty.
Yeah, they were like, go for it. We've got 5 minutes. He's like, I'm sitting in the chair.
It's like,
We're
dude, we
doing
have
this.
one scene. Give me 10 minutes. Give me 10. Like, we'll get all these guys are getting out. All these guys, we're gonna shoot over here. Just fucking leave me alone.
I just love that trash talk that he had, though. They carve their names into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, this chair ain't shit.
and his
It's a
looks were so
chair.
good. He was just taunting the
Yeah.
hell out of him.
He was, and
But he was taunting him in a friendly way. Like,
No, I wasn't even. It was, again, he was doing the therapist role. He was doing that all for the purpose of
right.
getting
And then
him.
when he said that thing at the end there, John, just like you're getting at, when he was like, "I have a voice," he's like, "Yes, you do."
oh, that's one of the best lines of the movie.
that was so therapist though.
Yeah.
That
yeah,
wasn't
it was.
friend.
That wasn't
Yeah.
a friend thing.
That's also that's one of the most borderline cheesy parts of the entire movie. When
Oh, I thought it was great.
I love it also, but when he nods at him, he's just like, "You've passed the test, my friend."
Yes.
Yeah, you are good here.
Yeah.
I
I have done
a
my
voice.
job. I'll
And
pat
Yeah.
myself on the back.
God,
right
I am
now.
good.
That'll be 40 pounds, sir.
I mean, again, the way Lionel delivers his lines, it's almost so understated that maybe it's a very British, or I mean, I think Rush is Australian, but anyway, it's like, how could I ever thank you? And he's like, well, knighthood. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So I'll tell you one thing: if Rush is Australian, he's definitely not Geoffrey. It's Jiffy.
JF, eh?
All right, that's a
Thank
compromise.
you. I think I got you on that one there.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
Way to derail. I digress.
So Denny, this is one of your top 250, right? I mean, there's very little question.
This isn't my
well,
top.
yeah, he came in hot, so this definitely
This is
is
my
his
top 50.
I was like, I thought he did a whole drop the mic moment. I really felt like you.
And actually, that
you
really threw me
laid
off
it
for
out
the rest
there.
of the episode. I was like, well, I said all I could say. I made love to the movie, and I've already orgasmed, so like, what else can I do?
and I'm a castle.
Now I'm like, what? You want some waffles?
I'm a castle.
I'm a castle. I love this movie. I'm a castle.
All right, so like 2 movies coming up. There's a movie called Castle in the Sky. I'm going to say that a lot.
All right, great.
Wait, so what's Castle in the Sky? Well,
It's
yeah.
some-
What,
it's
by the
some
way, what do we have
animated
coming up?
1980s.
What's up
Is
next?
this Studio
What's
Ghibli,
up
isn't
next?
it? Or
Yeah,
is it,
wait. No, we'll
yeah.
talk about that in a sec. So
Yeah.
we should.
We're
we
running out of time.
yeah, but I got some stuff here. I got some stuff.
All right. Show us your stuff.
Okay, I'll show you my stuff. The first shot of the movie. All right, is it this won't even be a game. What would, if you were to guess where they started shooting this movie? Where would you assume? Because it seems random to me. I have no idea how they
Feel
figure
like a
out
horse
production.
track.
Say again.
Oh well, you mean
I
where
like- it
the
looked like
first
a
speech
horse
is given?
track.
It does. It was the Empire Games, which is sort of like some kind of Olympic sort of thing that the British were doing since they ruled like 2/3 of the world or something like that at that time.
Oh, wait a minute. What?
What?
That first speech is for the Empire Games.
Oh yeah.
Which
No,
is
no. I'm
like the
talking about
Olympics,
like
yeah.
so in terms of shoot. Like,
And so,
location.
I mean, TC was like saying it seems like it's a horse track.
It looks
'cause it's
like a horse
people are
track,
in
yeah.
a stadium.
Like if they were to like
oh no. Sorry.
rent
I didn't phrase my
What?
question correctly.
your question.
My question. I think I brought too many beers into this room.
I think you
I
might
guess
have.
so.
If you were to guess production wise in terms of filming this movie, where what was the first scene on the first day of production?
Oh, where on location were they?
Where on location? What scene?
Oh,
where
what
were they
part of the
start?
movie were they shooting
Yeah.
first? Oh,
Oh.
probably out of order, like usual. So I don't know.
It is out of order, but it's not
Yeah,
too out of order. It's kind of
it's
a hint.
always out of order. That's the hardest part. I always found.
Maybe
never know what the fuck
daddy
you're doing.
dying. I don't know.
Daddy dying. Not too
I
far
would
off.
think like maybe the dinner scenes.
It's not too far off either. It's kind of the same part. The director wanted to put a lot of pressure on Colin Firth's character, Birdie, because he didn't want there to be any type of getting better at acting with because he had a lot to do in this movie.
Oh, I see.
He wanted him to
Okay.
dive in head first. So he
Right.
gave him one of the hardest scenes in the movie first, which is the first time he goes to therapy.
Oh,
So the very first
Wow.
take, the very first thing they shot was the first, like as soon as he sat down on the couch in the therapy room. And so
with Lionel, the very first time he goes to Lionel.
Yep.
Yeah.
that was the first day of the shoot.
Wow.
That's friggin' awesome. That's ballsy
Yeah.
by the director.
Yeah. He's like, it was a risk and it worked. And you're like, fuck yeah, dude. Good
Well,
for you.
I think he must have really trusted the actor.
Yeah.
And been like, we're doing this. So this is a great idea. We're doing this.
All right. What else do I got here? The montage of the speech therapy stuff. The director was very against it because he has read many things where montage is kind of like a cheap way out in terms of screenwriting
Right.
and making movies.
And it kind of takes you out of the story. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like now you're
Yeah.
in a montage.
But
yeah.
Jeffrey Rush, the character or the actor playing the character Lionel, convinced him to do it because reading the scripts, there were only 6 scenes they had together in the script, and they thought that the audience would think that they only met 6 times, and then he
Right.
fixes his speech impediment, which seems like nothing. He's
Right,
like, we
right.
need
Again, that's
Oh,
the-
so like use
the
the
whole-
montage to
Yeah.
show the time.
Well,
pa-
but that's the whole
passing.
Rocky training scene. That's why you have the montage.
Right.
You show the passage of time with the montage.
And again, it didn't seem
Yeah.
like they just did it. If you do it well,
But it's
It's good.
contrived, so I can see
It
it as
is,
like
and
a
it's like- it's
egotistical
funny.
director. You're like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, there's a great montage making fun of in Team America. World Police, they do a great job.
Of course,
he
there
mentioned
is.
that.
Why
John,
wouldn't there be?
He mentioned
Yeah.
that in the commentary, playing that America, fuck yeah, right? Was it the montage?
right.
He mentioned that, saying like that was one of the things he saw that was like, don't ever do a montage because
Right.
this
But
is
see,
what
like
it is.
those guys, you can't take those guys seriously though. 'cause
Oh
those
no, but
guys
it's
came up
it's still
with their own
funny
thing.
because it's like such a it's such a when they're done in this very specific way, and that's what in Team Police they the whole song is about. You always fade the music out in a montage. They do these great sort of like all these rules of what you do when you do a montage, which is really hilarious. But so I could see why he's thinking. But then again, there's a reason. It's like it's something that the audiences are familiar with.
Right,
So.
it's not like they had to use a montage to just show
No,
a bunch of
but
shit.
it's
Like,
also
they
like
needed
there's
it.
there's certain kinds of camera angles or cuts that you would use maybe because the audience knows that you're trying to say something by using that kind of a cut. So what's the difference, right? Or by using certain kinds of music, you're telling the audience something, and you know it will work because you know the audience expects it. So at the same time, then if you want to be able to show a passage of time and the audience knows that a montage is done to do this, then it gets the job done.
yeah.
It's just another tool.
Right.
It doesn't
right,
have to
yeah.
be utilized as something that's like passe.
Right. But you can still understand the reluctance.
Of course, because you're the director and it's your movie, and you're like, montage, dude. Come on.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
get made fun of by
It's
all
like
the other
it's like
directors.
it's like me with like the 1-4-5 pattern in music. You're like, you really got nothing else. But then you hear like song after song after song after song after song using it as a tool.
Right.
But if it's
You
good,
get it.
it works.
If it's good,
it's
it
good.
works.
It's good. That's right.
Yeah. I didn't mind the montage. I wasn't annoyed by it.
I don't
Yeah,
even think I
I thought it was
noticed it
good.
because I probably like them more than I'm realizing.
It was really funny. They had like that was when they were like hopping around and shaking their heads around, and they had Queen Elizabeth sit on his stomach, and she's like, "This is actually quite a bit of good fun."
Oh, and he was, it was funny. He's like, a deep breath, and up goes the queen.
Yeah, up goes the queen. She's just sitting on him.
That's good.
Oh, I loved
That's
it.
good. Yeah, I just realized that since I watch TV, I probably really love montages.
Does TV have
That's
montages?
all TV is. It's just one montage after another. Every episode there's a montage. If it's not at the end, it's definitely in the beginning.
Oh, like the overlay of the voiceover when it's like, I learned something today.
Or
Everybody's
no, like
life
just
has a
like the,
purpose.
Adele comes in and then it's like the sad fucking scene at the hospital and it's just montage. Boom, boom, boom.
That
Anyway.
doesn't sound very good.
No, it doesn't. That's my point. Is
No,
that
It is
like I
terrible.
can see why the director's like, that's lame, we shouldn't do it. But then there's guys like me that's like, I want the montage. Give me montage. I watch TV, want montage.
I got some more trivia. I think you guys would like this.
Okay.
The scene where Colin Firth is dumping Jeffrey Rush. Sorry, Birdie is dumping Lionel. You know the scene I'm
Which
talking
one?
about?
They get dumped a lot.
No, the one where he accuses him of treason,
Of lying.
treasonous
Oh,
talk.
and like leaves him in the rain, walks off.
Poison, the poison thoughts.
Yes.
When he says
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
right?
So you know
yeah.
how foggy that scene is?
Yeah.
And
Well,
how
they're in the
pretty-
cemetery, aren't
How
they?
pretty
Or
is that fog?
cemetery?
It's like some kind of weird park somewhere in some famous area in
okay.
the UK. But
And it's probably real fog.
so it's not real fog. So they
No
have
way.
machines now. He doesn't have to do what
do you mean
Kurosawa does
now?
anymore. They have fog machines, and they placed, or so there were smoke machines. I don't know if there's a difference. They
There
placed them
is.
all around, like the outer background of them shooting that time,
Wow.
Because-
and it just hung.
because it's a
there.
period
That's
piece, and they were
sweet.
shooting on site, and there are high rises and stuff in the background.
Oh,
So they were trying to obscure. They didn't want to have to digitally remove. They're like, how much are smoke
How
machines?
awesome is that?
Yeah, they're like, how much are smoke machines versus how much would it be to remove, like, office towers from the background? They're like, smoke machines. But then,
Yeah.
it's probably harder for everybody on set trying to deal with having to shoot in like a real situation. We're like, what if there's wind? What if there's,
oh yeah.
Wow.
too dim lights? Like, what if the light's too dim where it can't break through the fake fog or smoke they're making?
Well, it's daytime. It'll go through.
What if it's the UK though, right? It's like foggy there all the time.
I have no
Yeah,
idea.
That's true. I don't know. From what I've ever shot with film is they're always trying to get rid of the light. They need less of it, not more
really?
of it. Yeah.
But not at night though, right?
Yeah. Not at night, no. But during the day, like the sun's just no. Even if it's cloudy, it's still strong.
Jet.
They set up a lot of
The panels,
They
right?
set up a lot of panels to block.
Yeah, you can always tell a shitty production when everything's just whitewashed.
Yeah,
There's, like,
because
no
it's hard to direct the light so that the foreground part of the shot will be like in a nominal level luminance wise, and then not have like background shit just be totally, like you said, blown out,
Yeah.
or like you've got to kind of separate the two, or there's no, like, the sun is unforgiving.
Goddamn son. Let's fucking destroy
Yeah.
it.
The sun's unforgiving. It's funny that all I'm thinking about right now is this kid who's a DP out here in LA, and he loves fog. Like, for every time I worked with him, like, it was only
runs
fog,
outside, he's like,
fog,
"We gotta
fog."
shoot, we
So
gotta
he
shoot.
has like a thing that's gun the fog, and he says it just like that every single time, and then we all laugh, and then like they gun the fog. Like it's. I mean, the thing is, the fog. They use fog in almost every single shot now because digital video is so crisp and so clear
Yeah.
that there's no texture when there's no fog. Like, the fog just gives light a little bit more play.
But then now there's
Right.
special effects. You can just click a button and add it in. There's like
No,
there's
it's
little
not.
dust
No, no, no.
particles. You can put dust
yeah,
particles
that's
in that
not the
float
same.
around.
It doesn't work.
It looks
Nope.
so nice.
Now, if you want, like, the Peaky Blinders did it a lot. If you've ever watched the Peaky Blinders on Netflix, they use fog in almost every shot. You can see, like, the sun's coming through the window and you actually see the rays. Like, how often does that happen? You open your window, right? You don't see any fucking sun rays. You know how much fog they pump into that room to make that work? Plus, with the digital video, like,
It's cool
it's
though.
so crisp and so clean that you need so much of it. I mean, you end up sitting there. I would be sitting there holding my fucking boom mic, and I'd be like soaked, like I'm wet.
Oh wow.
Because
Yeah.
the fog is so much. But
That's
so
pretty cool.
smoke, totally different.
So when they do the
Pretty
fog, is
cool.
it just like, is it chemical or anything? It's just kind of a water vapor?
It's like a
or,
glycerin based.
Is it like what it
Fog.
smells like when you go on the
That's all.
Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disney World?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's
like
exactly
smell
what it
vaguely,
smells
smells
like.
vaguely like coconut.
Yeah, it smells like a musty coconut.
Yeah.
And you know, they have it all on one button, and they have like all these fog machines just go and they
That's-
blow it all around. Yeah. Pretty cool.
You'll like this, TC. This is a score based one. They were worried making this movie that there would be a double climax, which I never knew was a problem. But there was
Me either.
yeah. So
Yeah.
the scene.
I never have that problem. Go. All right, moving on.
Come on, John. That was pretty funny.
That was decent.
All right. So the scene where he gets like kinged or whatever, like that whole thing where he's on the crown or on the throne and he gets like they kind of make amends after that whole feud. They were afraid that scene would overshadow the speech at the end. And they were trying to.
Really?
So you know what scene I'm talking about, right?
Right. Well,
Yeah.
they
That scene
actually
is heavy. That scene is like.
It is, but they don't show the whole process of it, right? They end up showing them seeing a movie of it afterwards, almost, right?
Well, so that the way
they show them all getting ready for it.
But the whole that wasn't the important part. The important part was how we prepared for it, which was making amends with Lionel, and then learning that none of it matters. Like the throne doesn't matter. Like all the shit, like his little he throws his little priest away. Like none of the shit matters. You're your own man. You're number one. Nobody is above you. Do whatever you want. You're allowed to have confidence. Whatever you do stays. And then he becomes the king. So I mean,
really becomes the king.
So they're just worried that would be like that would then anything else would be like sort of anticlimactic.
yeah.
Like,
If
so
they
when he
showed
gives a
the four
speech.
lines, it would have been anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that whole part before that, they were worried with the way it was playing while they were making it that was going to be a first climax and it was going to overshadow the king's speech at the end. But the
Right.
way
Can
they
you imagine that room when they were discussing that? Like everyone's freaking out. Like, dude, it's so good. No, it's so fucking
Yeah.
good. What are we gonna do about this?
This movie
is too
like,
good.
the
He's
way-
too good.
So I don't think they had meetings in this movie. Like the way he was talking about it, it was fluid. Like they were on the fly every day. They were figuring out what they're going to do. They were taking input
right,
from
but
all
there
the
was
actors.
still that daily wrap up when
So,
they all sit there and talk.
You're gonna
right?
you're gonna be surprised by this piece of trivia, but if you ever watch it again, you'll watch it and you'll be like 100%. That makes sense. It was the guy who did the score diffused the entire scene by putting a playful type of music over that entire thing.
Oh.
It was like a bouncy, happy type of,
So they could have made it more like the majestic, like building up of
Exactly.
This very dramatic event, and instead, that's interesting.
So they used
That's
the sounds to subvert the.
Yeah, they were worried about
The
having to like
seriousness of
re-edit.
the
They
thing.
already
That's
had an
pretty
edit of
cool.
it, and they're like, we might have to re-edit this. We don't know what to do. It's like this is pretty intense. But then they had
and he's like, I know what to do. We're gonna
Yeah.
make a fucking clown song.
yeah,
And we're gonna do
they made it
all
whimsical,
over it.
and
no
then he
one's
does
gonna
that
care.
whole funny thing at the end
That's-
where he's like doing the
that's
thing up
brilliant.
at the top of the it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That's brilliant. That's when sound finally gets nothing still.
Yeah.
And
speaking of-
nobody friggin' notices.
And speaking of the guy who did the score, there's one piece of music in this movie that isn't his, and it's Beethoven's Seventh, and it's during the actual speech. And when they brought it to him, they were worried that he was gonna be like, no, I can do something better. But as soon as they brought it to him, he was one of the people who was the one who's like, we need to use this piece of music because this speech is in like history as something everybody knows, and
Just like the Beethoven
just
7.
like the Beethoven Seventh.
So smart.
Yeah.
So like lacking of ego.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and that music goes so well with that scene.
Well, and I think it almost kind of makes sense, right? Too, because the composer, I mean, they're not. I mean, they think they're great, but they don't think they're better than Beethoven.
no, you can't. You have to
Right?
be a
Like, you
huge
can't be.
asshole.
Yeah, you'd have to be a dick to be like, no, I can do something better. Like, come on, dude, it's Beethoven. Dude was deaf.
No. Well, you could
Homeboy was
probably,
deaf.
yeah. But you could think that you could tailor something to this scene that because you know what it is
I
that you're
have a
putting the
feeling
score
most-
to.
No, I
don't
agree with
know.
you because like you don't want to use a song that 100 other directors have used in their movies. it kind of takes away from the power from the
But
scene
they
a
just
little
used
bit.
it incorrectly.
Yeah. But again, it fit really
I'm
well.
just-
It did.
Yeah.
I'm on the sound guy's side.
I am too.
Side all the way through.
But
It's a
it
great
could, it could
idea.
work both, depending on the situation, both situations could work. But
Yeah, true. You can get hit by a bus too, but what are the odds of that? Like, it's fucking Beethoven. It's gonna work.
so that speech too, it was almost the entire length of the actual speech. They removed 4 sentences, and they shortened 4 sentences. But it almost entirely was the same thing. And I've already said that the way he said it, his diction, the way you guys should really just go and look at it. It's like 7 minutes long. It's amazing how much it sounds.
How close?
Yeah, it's
Right.
it's amazing. In a weird way, where he must have just listened to it over and over and over again, like every single word of the
Probably.
entire thing.
Yeah.
But during that scene, there's a lot of shot. Like that scene consists of a lot of separate shots of like people reacting to
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
They didn't have
Like
money.
a montage.
They didn't have money for that montage. They proposed that montage throughout making this movie. They had a second director, and whenever Tom Hooper put a second director, whenever he was gonna he set them up, told them to film it, went to another room, and they filmed all of the scenes on like random parts of the day where people didn't have things to do.
Oh wow! So they just kind of like stitched it all in.
Stitched it all in, did it like on downtime for people
Wow.
throughout the production of the movie. And then
This guy's smart. He
when I
knows
was
how
watching
to
it, he
stretch
was
a
like,
buck.
that day, that's the day we shot the factory scene. And that day, that was after the first day of the shoot, and we went to this thing. And that day was right after this. And he just like named off all of the different times that they took the individual shots,
Wow.
which is awesome.
Wow.
That is
That is
impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I knew I didn't have the budget for it, but this scene would have been boring if it was just on these 2 people. I knew I couldn't shoot the same room for 6 minutes.
It takes a lot to be a good director, and that's how you are a good director.
Dude,
Shit
watching
like
these
that.
commentaries, I feel like a fucking idiot.
Nah, don't.
They are
You're not them.
geniuses, dude.
Yeah, but they're also they're in a situation that requires them to think around the box, and they come up with stuff on the fly. And I don't think you would be any worse at it if you did it. You
No,
just
dude, they
have
are
to
thinking
do
about
it.
more things than I
The amount
ever
of
thought of.
the amount of dedication and actual work that goes into these kinds of things is amazing.
Right.
It's just impressive that
It is.
that, there are people that can pull this off. Any kind of artwork. I mean,
Yeah, and it's true because it's the same kind of thing with music. But once you put
Right.
your mindset to that, sort of like, you dive right into it, and that's what you eat and breathe. So
right. If that's all you're doing,
that's all you're doing. Like,
And
these-
you're not doing it like you're also doing it probably intensely, like say for 3 months at a time or however long shooting is. So, it's not like you're doing it constantly either. But it's still amazing. I still, I think I said that like sort of when I talked about like being critical of movies. It's when you think about the amount of work and effort and passion that has to go to get like anything made. It's so. Do you want to just kind of wrap it up? And you guys can keep this conversation going if you want.
no, that's cool. We're good. I mean,
All right, so we're going to
he's-
wrap it up.
Yeah.
Next week, we have a movie I've never heard anything about. Roman
What is
Roman Holiday,
Never heard of it.
1953.
oh geez.
It has Audrey Hepburn. I've never seen her in a movie.
Okay.
It has
getting better.
Gregory Peck.
Okay. Getting really a lot better now. I actually know who that is. Anyways, go on.
Yeah, that's it. And it's directed by William Wyler.
So it's a romantic comedy, huh? This could
A
be.
bored and sheltered princess escapes her guardians and falls in love with an American newsman in Rome.
This could be pretty shitty.
No, it should be fun.
I'm sure it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Not to mention she's
Cool.
beautiful back then. Anyway, cool. That'll
Cool.
be good. All right,
All right.
guys. Well,
So, hey, yeah, check us out at mission250filmcast.com. If you want to email us, it's mission250filmcast@gmail.com. And
Don't
That's
forget
it.
to check out the list of movies so you can follow along. That's also on the website.
yeah, follow us along. We're going reverse order, linearly. And
got it.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. Oh, he's here to
yo,
stay.
he's never going anywhere.
All right. Later, guys.
Thanks.
Later.